Hey guys, welcome back. Happy New Year. Hope you guys had a great New Year's Eve and are enjoying your first day of 2023. We're gonna do a little something different in today's video. We're gonna do like a little recap and look back at all the projects we did here at our Little Blessed Nest in 2022. Let's take a look. At the end of 2021, my dad and I had started working on this faux brick wall, and this is the first project that I started at the beginning of 2022, was finishing this wall. You see, I went in with some wood filler. I'd never used wood filler before, so I don't think, wasn't quite sure how it worked, but I filled in the seams, let it dry, and then it took some sandpaper and kind of sanded off all the rough edges. And then I went in with some alabaster paint and painted all of the wall this white alabaster color. It did take me 3 coats, and it took a minute to get into all these little crevices and the grout lines and all of that. I did find that using a brush worked better than using a roller, but that's just my opinion. It might work better another way for you, but this worked the best for me. I finally got all 3 coats on, and I was very happy with how it turned out. I really liked the texture that the brick gave it, and the only other thing that I needed to do right here was to go in and frame out around this window. So that was going to be my next project. And I think that'll be really pretty. And once I get that up, then I'm going to put my shelves back up here. I just stuck this sign up here for now just so it wasn't so, wasn't just a blank wall. So getting that faux brick wall finished was such a relief. I kept putting it off because it just really stressed me out. I didn't enjoy working with the brick panels, and I really was over it by the time we finished. I think we used 3 panels here in my kitchen. We're very happy with it. We like how it looks now. Would I work with that material again in the future? Most likely not. The only instance in which I think I would work with it is if I was just putting up complete panels and not having to cut things out of it. That stressed me out so much. I just, it's just beyond my skill level at this time. Maybe I'll get there in the future, but so far, not quite there yet. I was never so happy as I was to finally get this window trimmed out. If you remember, if you've been with me this long, you might remember that I actually just had it taped up there for the longest time before I finally went and cut the wood, nailed it in, got it all good and even and installed. It looked so much better once it was framed out. I went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to paint it. All of the trim in my living room is painted white, but there was just something in me that really wanted to stain this the special walnut, the same color as my island and other projects that I've done in the house. And in the end, I did end up going with the stained look. I ran into a lot of issues when I went to install the wood because the window is not square, nothing was level. One side went up a lot easier than the other. When I kind of dry fit it, it fit perfectly, but when I went to actually install it, it had a big gap in it, and because I was staining it, I couldn't really caulk it and fill those gaps in like I could have if I had painted it. But in the end, it all turned out really great. This project actually led to another smaller project because I had some extra wood left over, and I decided to go and make myself some dividers to put into my big drawer here so that I could separate my kitchen towels, some utensils. I like to keep my water flavor packs in here, so just lots of different things. And this drawer was always a mess, so I thought making these dividers would help keep things organized and make it look so much better and make it so much more accessible and easy to find what I need. So this is how it turned out, and I was really happy with it. I'm still really loving the framing around my kitchen window. I will be honest, from time to time I consider painting it white, but I feel like I would probably regret it, so I haven't touched it. It's still wood tone, and I still really love it. I have to say, here recently I have really gotten into different kinds of moldings, because I'm following Exo McKenna. If you guys don't watch her, she has completely gutted and remodeled a home that's over 100 years old. And the moldings in this house are so beautiful. And I know this is just a single wide trailer. It's not gonna have moldings like a 100-year-old house would have. And it might look ridiculous if I try to put them in here. I don't know. But don't think I haven't thought about it, because I have. It's so pretty. Like, I love all the little corner pieces and just all the details in it. They did things so much more intricately and beautifully back then. I feel like now things are kind of like just all the same, just kind of cookie cutter houses. They're just not like they used to be. They're just so beautiful, all the woodwork that they did in them back then. And yeah, really like that. Yeah, that's goals. Another project that I worked on in this area was adding a board and batten wall down my hallway. Now, I went back and forth for the longest time on whether I wanted to do beadboard or board and batten, and I finally just decided to go with it and did board and batten. I was already familiar with this process. I thought it would be a lot easier than trying to put up the beadboard and having to cut out around electrical outlets and things like that. I definitely have not mastered that process. You can see one of the ways that I deal with wood when I'm trying to do something and I don't have an extra set of hands is I will just use some painter's tape, and tape it to the wall so it stays in place and so I can get my measurements right and all of that. So that's one tip for you. My mom came up and helped me a little bit towards the end when I was trying to put the top board on and get it level and everything. She was a big help. Another thing I went back and forth on is whether I wanted to paint the board and batten a different color or paint it alabaster, just paint the whole wall the same. In the end, I decided to go with accessible beige. I'm really happy with this color. It's a nice neutral color, but it still adds some warmth. It's not gray. I was really tired of the grays. That was a big thing at that time, or had been for a while, and I wanted something with more of a beige color to it so that it would warm up the space and not look cold. And I think this did the job. I'm really happy with it. And I did later on, you'll see a little later in the video, I ended up painting my pantry door the same color. Another project that I worked on in my kitchen was building a rolling pantry. Now, I originally had one idea for this. I wanted more storage for canned goods and just pantry items so that I could declutter my actual pantry because stuff was just stacked on top of each other. I had no room in there. So I saw this on Pinterest and decided to give it a shot. I had never built anything like this before, so it was just kind of a crapshoot, basically. Wasn't sure if it was going to turn out right or not, but it did, and this is what it looked like. I debated back and forth on which side of the refrigerator to put it on. I went back and forth on whether to stain it or paint it. I have such trouble making decisions, and I'm sure that I asked you guys in the video which way you preferred it. Eventually, I decided to put it on the other side of the refrigerator by the sink because I was worried about it tipping over. Also, some of you said that they would be concerned about the sun shining through onto the cans and things like that, maybe spoiling them or contaminating them somehow. So I had it like this for a minute, and then I went ahead and moved it over, like I said, beside the sink. Once I moved it over to the other side, it kind of morphed into a whole nother kind of a storage solution because I thought, well, it's right here beside where I cook and everything, so maybe I should turn it into like a spice rack and a dry goods storage rack. So that's exactly what I did. And I also ended up deciding I wasn't so happy with the stained look, and I ended up painting it white instead. And I'm very happy that I did that. There was just a little too much wood tones going on with my wood countertop and my wood window. And I think the white really helped it to kind of blend in with my cabinetry better. So here I am putting on all the little spice jars and my dry goods, and I have to say that this makes it so much easier. I don't have to go over into the pantry and dig through that mess to find the things I need when I'm cooking. I also decided to finish it out a little bit by putting some beadboard on the back. So here my mom is helping me to do that. I think just little finishing things like this really turns a project into something special. I really love the beadboard on the back. I really love that cottagey feel. And I really think that the beadboard and the glass jars really add to that feeling. So the rolling pantry did turn out completely different than my original vision, but it's so much better than my original vision because it functions so much better than what I could have imagined. I never thought about using it for spices and dry goods, but it works out perfectly where it is beside my fridge. It's so easy just to reach over, get the spices that I need when I'm cooking something, or grab my coffee that I keep on there to make my coffee, or oats, or just whatever that I need. It's much, although I mean it's not that far to my pantry, come on, let's be real, but it's just more convenient. So it really worked out. I really like everything about it. I don't think I would change anything. For a while I kept my canned goods, some extra canned goods still on the bottom there, and a lot of things people ask about rolling it out. I don't ever actually roll it out. I don't have to for the way that I'm using it now. I don't have a reason to actually roll it out unless I'm going to clean under it or something, so it's perfectly fine just the way it is. But I have started storing some of my cleaning stuff down below the counter because I have a curtain that goes across there and you can't see what's on there anyway. So it freed up a lot of space under my kitchen cabinet, which was great because it was so cluttered under there. I'll be showing you that in my next video, so stay tuned if you're interested in seeing that. This project here actually served multiple purposes. I really wanted extra storage. It was such a messy area, and I really needed to find better solutions, more storage, better organization, and this was my solution, was to build an extra shelf in there to make the actual shelves deeper so that I could put more on them, and it really worked out great. So I decided to go in and build an extra shelf, and also to beef these up a little bit to make it look a little nicer. So I wanted to make it, I wanted it to have wood tone shelving. So I ripped this one out and you can see how it turned out. I added a little lip across the front. I think it was a 1x3 so that it just looked bulkier. It looked, I don't know, more substantial. I did go in and add some support here on the sides just to make sure that it was stable and wasn't gonna like collapse or anything. It actually turned out so well. And the other purpose that I wanted this for was to get my microwave up off of my countertop, because y'all know I have very little counter space, and now I can put it in my pantry and it just works so much better. It's so much more organized and I'm so much happier with it. Pantry Makeover, I really love that one. That's a good one. I love the shelves. I love that my microwave is up off my counter. I love the way that it looks. I just dreamed about having, like, I would love to have one of those walk-in pantries. It's all organized and has wood shelving and all the perfectly matched containers and all the things that you see on YouTube. Come on. But that's just not a realistic goal here. So I think I did the best that I could to kind of get that feeling and that vibe in my little small pantry that I have here. So I hope you guys like it too. This is when I also went in and painted the pantry door. It was Sea Salt by Sherwin-Williams, and I changed it to the Accessible Beige by Sherwin-Williams. I loved the sea salt on the pantry door for a long time, but I started to want it to be more of a neutral, and I really like the Accessible Beige. Like, I'm really happy with that color. I did agreeable gray in my bedroom and my bathroom for a minute, and I don't know if it's just the lighting in my house, but I found the color depressing. It made it look dark in there. So when I switched to alabaster in those rooms, it just made it look so bright and cheerful, and that's what I need in my life. I finally got my crystal doorknob, which I had been wanting forever. I just had an open hole there for a couple of years instead of a doorknob, because I just didn't want to put one there that I didn't like, and it took me a while to find one that I like. I really wanted to find a vintage one. I looked everywhere for a long time and never could find one that I really liked, and then I happened to see this one on Amazon. It's not vintage, but it kind of looks vintage, I think, and it's just so pretty. So very happy with that. Happy to finally have a doorknob on my pantry. My next project moved out of the kitchen and into the bathroom. This is what my bathroom had looked like pretty much since we moved in. It had been the same. I really liked it. I was very happy with it. When we first moved into our house, I was more into the like farmhouse style, and I feel like this cabinet really kind of fit that. I got this cabinet actually off of Facebook Marketplace for $100 that was with the sink and everything, so it was a pretty good deal. My main issue in this bathroom is I really didn't have any storage space. I didn't have anywhere to put towels or anything like that other than this little corner shelf that I had in here, because it was just an awkward space. It's not very wide. So I came up with a solution, and I'm so happy with it. It really turned out great. I knew the first thing that I wanted to do was to paint it a different color, and I had really gotten into the green colors. It's been really popular this year, and I chose Evergreen Fog, and it is just the prettiest shade of green. I used these little door and cabinet rollers, and I gave it a coat of paint. I think I actually did end up having to give it 3 coats, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely 2, but I think it was 3. The paint color in this room was still the same as when we had first moved in, which was, I think it was called Agreeable Gray, and it was okay. I liked it all right in the beginning, but I really wanted it to be brighter in here since I don't have any natural light. So I decided to paint it alabaster, which is what I have in the rest of my home, and I was so happy with it. I could immediately see the difference as I was painting it of how much brighter the room looked. The last part of this project was to build some storage. So I decided to go with the same method that was in my pantry, which was to put supports on each side, one on the cabinet and then one on the opposite wall, and use that to put my shelf on top of. I knew I wanted 2 shelves because I wanted a place to store all of my towels and washcloths, and then I needed another shelf to store just random things like makeup, hairbrushes, just things like that. And then I wanted the top one to be level with my countertop. That way it would have more countertop space, and I could also store things on there as well. I wanted to finish off the front like I did in my pantry, so I cut these boards and nailed to the front. I had a hard time, guys. Getting these measurements right. I had to recut these boards. I don't know how many times. I wasted so much material, but every time I would cut it, it would just be a little too short or a little too long, and yeah, it took me a minute, but I finally got it. It finally worked out. The bathroom turned out just how I wanted it. I love the new colors. I love the shelving and the storage space. This beautiful shower curtain that I picked up at Target. I still love the shower curtain, and just all the finishing touches. This is probably one of my favorite room makeovers that I've done. As I was saying, when we first moved in here, I really was all about farmhouse. I really loved the farmhouse style. I had been watching Joanna Gaines and Fixer Upper for a few years, and I just loved her. Loved the whole shiplap white, you know, the whole thing. I loved it, and that's what I wanted my home to look like. I wanted all the walls white. I wanted my cabinets white. I wanted a shiplap wall. Originally I wanted to shiplap all of these walls, but I'm thankful now that that wasn't in the budget, because I don't think that I would have loved that like over time. I think I would have gotten tired of it. I think that's something that's good on like a feature wall or something like that, but I'm glad that I didn't do that. Now what I would like is to have shiplap on my ceilings. I would love to do that. I'm going to eventually do something with the ceilings, but it's just, it feels overwhelming to me. It feels like a very difficult project, and when projects are difficult, I put them off. When you have your own home, you know that sometimes there are unexpected projects, and that's going to push back all the other projects. But we had to replace our flooring in our master bedroom because of moisture issues. I also had to buy a dehumidifier. Big thanks to my family for helping me with this project. After making over my bathroom, I decided that it was going to soon be time to do my bedroom as well. I'd grown tired of the black wall and wanted to change it up. I absolutely fell in love with that evergreen fog that I used on my bathroom cabinet, and I thought it would look really pretty to carry that color on from the bathroom into the bedroom. So I went ahead and painted the top portion of this feature wall, the evergreen fog. I left the bottom alabaster with my board and batten, and I really like how that turned out. I also finally got a light fixture to put in my bedroom. My dad hung this up for me, and it really turned out really pretty. I'm really into wood tones and wicker and all that sort of thing, so this light fixture was just beautiful to me. I finally ordered us a new bed frame. I have been wanting a bed frame like this forever. I messed up on a deal to get one at Goodwill one time, thinking it was too expensive. Y'all may remember that if you follow me on Instagram. And then I wanted to kick myself after I got home. But I ordered this black metal frame off of Amazon. And then we also got a new mattress and new bedding. I really could not be happier with how this all turned out. I never thought I would put the bed in this position in the room. I always had it turned on the opposite wall because I didn't think there'd be enough room, and then it turned out great that way. I finally also got a doorknob for my closet and installed that. Y'all know how much I love the crystal doorknobs. Those are my favorite. I have them on almost all my doors now. They're really affordable on Amazon. Such a great find. And then I hung these pictures up that I had picked up at Hobby Lobby on each side of the bed. Bonnie, of course, was posing here for the camera. I couldn't have been happier with how this little makeover turned out. Everything just came together. All the colors look cozy to me, and it just is a very relaxing place. I love hanging out in here now. I sit in here with my laptop and edit videos sometimes, and it's just such a great space, and the fur babies love it too. So we actually did get a lot done on the interior this year. There's a lot more things to work on in 2023. Don't worry. I have a long list. So there'll be more DIY projects to come. It may be a little later when it's a little warmer. I don't know. It just depends. Sometimes I just get an idea and I run with it. But I have a lot of ideas. So let's take a look at what all we did on the exterior of our home, which was a lot. We painted, we stained the ramp and back porch, put on gutters, put on shutters, did some landscaping. There was a lot of things going on outside. Oh, and most of it was during the summer when it was boiling hot. But let's take a look at that. The makeovers and the DIY projects were not limited to the inside of our mobile home this year. There was so much on the outside that needed to be done. The deck needed to be stained to preserve the wood so that it would last many years to come. But we had to start at the beginning, and that was with pressure washing. My dad did most of the house. He did let me do a little on the end, but it was very hard for me to reach, and I am terrified of ladders. We were also doing this in the dead of summer, and it was so miserably hot and humid when we were working on this. The water didn't even help. It just made it stickier. But thankfully we got it done, and it looks so much better. After everything had dried and everything was good and clean, it was time to go in with some stain and take care of this deck. I chose to use this Valspar semi-transparent. It was recommended to me by a friend. I was super nervous about the color when I started putting it on. It just wasn't a very pretty color to me, but I have to say that now that it's dried and weathered a little bit, I really do like the color. I highly recommend this brush that I'm using here. It made the product go on so easy, which this product goes on easily anyway. It's more like putting on paint than it is stain to me, but I think the brush had a whole lot to do with that as well. So again, I do highly recommend the brush if you're going to be brushing stain onto a porch or a large project like this. I ended up doing 2 coats with this. You can see it goes on pretty thick, but I did feel like another coat was necessary. It really just depends, I guess, on how transparent you want it. I wanted mine a little thicker, so I did go ahead with the second coat, as I said. As far as the stain goes, now that it's been probably, I don't know, maybe 6 months. I did this back in the summer, and now it's the 1st of 2023. So I would say that I probably would not recommend this particular product for a porch or an area like this where people are going to be walking on it. It's going to be high traffic. Again, this is just my experience, but I do notice that mine is fading pretty quickly. It looks kind of patchy in places. So I would recommend this for things like fences and vertical surfaces, just not for a porch or deck. So this is what it looked like when I finished. It does look very orange here in this shot. It's not that orange in person. The sun was shining on it. I think it had a lot to do with the way the camera was picking it up. I'm not done with this area yet. I still have to do some landscaping, make a walkway, and several more projects to finish on the back porch and ramp area. If there was one project that I wanted done from the time I moved in, it was painting the exterior of our home. I really did not like that faux wood grain look. I had painted a little sample of the colors I was looking at here on the side and had my mom trying to help me choose which one I wanted. I know I wanted a white color. She couldn't even see the difference in the two colors. But finally I settled on one, and my brother and my dad came out and painted this for me. It didn't take them that long with this spray gun. My brother did majority of the painting, and my dad helped him out with the ladder and things, and I helped clean up any overflow that got like on the window or on the underpinning below. If you take a little rubbing alcohol, I didn't know this, my brother told me this, you can wipe it off. So that's what I'm doing here. Just cleaning up all the overflow. But he did a pretty good job of keeping it off of there. But it was windy that day, so it was difficult. So I'm very happy with the paint color. I do think I would have liked to go a little more white. I originally was going to paint the exterior alabaster. I just love that color. That's what the inside of our home is. But it's just a creamy white. It's not like a stark, sterile white. It's more of a warm, creamy color, you know? And I was originally going to go with that color. And then, I don't know, I was worrying about it getting dirty really easy. I was thinking maybe I should go more on like a light gray. The bottom of our home is a darker gray, as well as the roof. They're both the same color. And I was just thinking, a really, really light gray might look better than white. I'm really happy with it. I think it's a great color. If I were to paint it again, I would go ahead and go with the alabaster and just go full on white. And the reason is sometimes, depending on the lighting, the grass kind of reflects onto that paint outside, and it gives it a green kind of cast. It kind of has a green cast to it. You may notice in some of the videos, I don't know, but when it's nice out and sunny and everything, it looks fine. But on overcast days especially, I don't know why that is, it takes on a little bit of a greenish hue. So another thing that we had to tackle was getting a new window for our kitchen window. You may remember, if you've been around for a while, but back last year, no, it was December the year before, 2021 December. A tornado hit here where we live, and it was an EF1, and it did knock this tree down here in our front yard, and the limb came through our kitchen window. It was a huge mess. It was in the middle of the night. It was pretty scary. We're still a little traumatized from it. And it took forever to get a new window. As you guys know, 2021, 2022, the supply chain has been not great, and it took forever for mobile home places to get windows in. Finally, around the time right after we painted the mobile home, I called and they had one in stock. So I went and picked it up, and my dad replaced it for me. I couldn't film us putting it in because I was trying to help him hold it and get everything straight. But I was so happy when I peeled off that tarp that we had covering the window, and it looks so much better. My kitchen is so much brighter. I'm so thankful to have this new window. It was such a relief to finally get this window changed out and not have it covered over, and having that light just pour through into this kitchen, and the sun just shines through it, and it's so uplifting and cheerful to walk in here in the mornings and then just be, you know, sunlight coming through there. Very, very happy. And Remy loves sitting in the chair in that window and sitting in the sunshine watching the birds. That's his favorite thing to do. I enjoy watching him sit there. Now eventually I would love to put actual house windows in here. The window that we replaced it with was just a regular mobile home window. I was afraid of ordering a certain one, a special like house window, and then not being able to find more that matched it later. So I didn't want to go to the extra expense of paying more for the window and also having to have someone install it, because a regular house window won't fit into that opening, so the opening would have to be widened, so it was just going to be a whole ordeal, and I would rather just replace them all at one time on down the line. If you've never lived in an older mobile home, then you may not know, but the windows in them are absolute crap. They're single pane, like in the winter they ice over on the inside. I put plastic over them last year, but that seemed to cause problems with more moisture. I don't understand it, but that's what my dad told me, that it was doing more harm than good, so I didn't do it this year. Now that I had everything stained and painted, I wanted to do a little landscaping back here around this ramp and my back porch. I decided to put down this weed barrier down through here, and then I purchased some mulch to go down. I went with the rubberific rubber mulch, and then we kind of made a little design with some no dig edging. It took us quite a while to figure out this design. Like I wanted it like a curved pathway. Looking back, I love the way that it looks, but it would have been much easier to care for if I'd have just made a straight edge. So I don't know if I would recommend the curved design.
That looks like a mess.
That looks like a mess. You did it. All joking aside, my mom was such a big help with this project. I don't think I could have got it done without her help. This is what it looked like when we were finished. It was such an improvement. I really love the black mulch. I think it makes everything kind of pop. And my next projects are going to make this look even better when we get a walkway built out here in front of the steps. Still lots to do here on the back porch. There's always a project to be done, it seems like, no matter how much work you do on something. You can see this eyesore right here. That's going to be taken care of in the next few videos. So I did a review of my landscaping products and stuff in a prior video, so I'm not going to go over all that again. I'm very happy with it, with the landscaping still. Are there a few things that I would have changed if I did it again? Yes, but I think that's the case with any project. You always look at things after you've done them and think, oh, this could have made it a little better. I might have liked it a little more this way, and I think that's normal. At least I hope so, because I'm always like that. Like my board and batten wall, I love it, but I do wish I'd have made it a little shorter. I feel like it's a little high, and sometimes I look at it and I'm like, I really want to cut that down shorter, but man, would that be a pain in the butt. So I'm just leaving it. It's fine for now. I've also thought about putting beadboard there. I really love beadboard. I just think it has a very cottagey look, and y'all know I'm torn when it comes to my style between different things. I really like dark tones and wood tones and things like that, but then I also love white cottagey look for my kitchen, like and that's a struggle because my kitchen and my living room are an open area, and they're like, I feel sometimes like they're fighting to come together because one is, you know, I have like rust color and like a teal color in my rug and a black wall, and then my kitchen is all like white and white dishes and all of that. But you know, I feel like it's working for me right now. I am eventually going to paint this black wall a different color. I haven't decided what I want to do there. Making decisions is hard for me. I really struggle with choosing something because I change my mind about the things that I like so often, and I'm afraid to make a change and then be like, oh, I like this better. Yeah. And I hate painting, so I don't want to change it and then hate it and then have to paint it again, because that's pain. So I've had this black wall for a while now, a couple years, I think. I still like it, but I feel like I like something else more now. I don't know what that is though. Are you guys like that? Do you have a hard time like picking a style and sticking with it? Or are you like tried and true, you know what your style is and that's just what you've stuck with? Maybe I'm just wishy-washy, I don't know. I just change my mind about things so quickly, which doesn't upset my mother because she always ends up with all the stuff that I'm tired of. She's like, I'll take that, I'll take that. She's like, I don't have to go shopping, I just wait for you to get tired of something. That's so true. Yep, that's a character flaw. Another small project that we completed this summer was installing shutters on the front of my home. You may remember that I had contemplated building wooden shutters, but ultimately I decided to go with these that I purchased from Lowe's, and I'm really happy with them. I like the way they look. Maybe in the future I may decide that I want to put up wooden shutters, but I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm really happy with these. My brother and his fiance came over and helped put these up. Well, look, they put them up. They didn't help. They did it. But my dad told me that I really needed to get gutters put on our home to keep the rainwater from rolling underneath the house. Our house is sitting kind of at an angle. You can tell it's a lot higher on one end than the other, and he really thought that water was coming downhill and underneath the trailer. So I went ahead and had the gutters put on. Sometimes you have to spend your project money on projects that are needed and are not to make things pretty. However, I have to say, I was telling you guys when I made this video that I never thought about how gutters would change the actual look of the house. I really was just thinking about them in a practical sense. But check out the difference here. This is before, and then I'm going to show you a clip of after. Does it not look so much different with just these gutters? It was crazy to me. I really like how it's coming along. It looks so much nicer now being painted. The new roof, the gutters, the shutters, everything is just coming together. Now that a practical project was finished, I could move on to something that was both practical and a pretty project. We're going to make a little walkway out in front of our steps on the back porch. As with all my projects, I went back and forth on what kind of materials I wanted to use, what I wanted it to look like. I thought about doing pavers. I went to Lowe's and looked and couldn't find any pavers that I really liked. So I decided that I'm into the cottage look, and I really feel like a gravel path is kind of a cottagey look, or it is to me anyway. So I decided to go with some little small gravel, and we put this insulation board down to keep the gravel in place and keep weeds from growing through it. We use landscape timbers on the sides. My dad put some rebar through them to keep them in place. This is going to keep the gravel from just spreading out all over the yard. Once he got that down, we went to scooping and raking the gravel. This was a very budget-friendly project. The gravel, I'm thinking it cost me like around $12, maybe a little less for a ton, so not pricey at all. We ended up needing more landscape timbers to extend this out to reach the driveway, and my dad actually finished this project up the next day for me. And this is what it looked like afterwards. He added a board on that bottom step to help hold the gravel in. Eventually I want to put boards on each one of these steps so that you can't see through them. I also put up these little solar lights that were sent to me by a sponsor. I really enjoy them. I do think I have too many going down the sides, so I'm probably going to take a few of those up this spring. It just looks a little busy, kind of like a landing strip. So I'm going to remove a few of those, but I absolutely love them. They look like little lanterns. So pretty, especially at night. Some of you have been with me since the very first video that I posted. Can you believe that this house has come this far? It is like night and day. It just blows my mind how different it looks. I look back at all the progress we've made over the last year, and I am just amazed and proud and just so thankful for our little blessed nest, for our little home, and for all of my family who helps out so much to turn this into such a wonderful place for Timmy and I to enjoy.
Take one.
Well, hi, Timmy.
Hello there, friends.
What you singing today?
Today we're gonna sing a song. It's a good habit to practice. Just a closer walk with thee.
Just
Sound good? I am weak, but thou art strong. Jesus, keep me from all wrong. I'll be satisfied as long that I walk. Let me walk close to thee. Just a closer walk with thee. Grant me, Jesus, here's my plea. Daily let it ever be. Will I walk, that I walk close to thee.
Good job.
Thank you very much. Praise the Lord. Well, thank you for listening, friends. I want you to pay close attention to that song as you walk closer to Jesus. And if you don't know Jesus as your Savior, the Bible says today is the day of salvation. Don't put it off.
I'm so happy that we've been able to share the last year, all the projects. I thank you, especially to all of you who have been here since the beginning, all of you who have been here over the last year, or even if you've just been here for a couple of months or weeks. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you all have a wonderful new year. I hope all of your hopes and goals are successful. We love you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.